Welcome to the Wellness Workers Podcast, your go-to source for practical insights on health and wellness for you, your family, and your workplace. In each episode, we explore best practices, proven wellness programs, and uncover what truly works. We'll be speaking with experts and thought leaders in the wellness space, bringing you their knowledge and experience to help you lead a healthier, more balanced life. So let's dive in and discover the strategies that can transform your well-being, both personally and professionally. Welcome to the Wellness Worker Podcast. This is a rare privilege because normally we do these via Zoom, but today I have the honor to be in the LaRocco showroom with my friend and associate, Joe Gavic. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Robert?
I'm doing fantastic, and
Excellent.
I'm getting better. Now, this is not your first time visiting us here at LaRocco.
No, it is not.
You've been here before.
Yes, sir.
And Joe actually came with the Wellness Doc some time ago. The Wellness Doc is quite prolific on YouTube and other places with his social media, and he tells stories about wellness as it relates to different modalities. He actually sells our massage chairs as well, but he had the opportunity to have Joe here because they demonstrated the ease. Matter of fact, let me show you this. The ease of our automatic, easy entry patented armrest. I had to show up that, Joe, because we didn't really get to talk about that on the episode that the Wellness Doc did, but I definitely wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, and that's what made it easy for me to get in
Definitely.
there, that's for sure.
And it's one of the few in the industry that has that, but the idea of listening to your story, there are things I didn't know about you and your experience. I thought that you was just appointed president, but Joe, you tell us a little bit about your story, your origin in terms of how you became spinal cord injured, and then how did you found even the North Texas chapter of United Spinal Cord Association. Spinal Association, is that what it's called?
Yeah, United Spinal.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I've been in a wheelchair. I've been a wheelchair user for a little over 30 years.
Really?
And I was kneeling down, looking through the balusters of a railing, overlooking Lake Michigan, and I had grabbed the railing and it was rotted wood and it broke.
Oh my goodness.
I fell and one of my vertebrae shattered and pieces of that bone fragment severed my spine. And that was a complete spinal cord injury, and it happened just like that.
Wow.
So you fast forward, and I lived in Wisconsin at the time. You fast forward all the years and kind of my journey into getting my new lifestyle going, right? Mm-hmm. Peer mentoring was a big part of that.
Okay.
And coming into my life and being engaged with two peer mentors really changed my mindset about what was possible, right, and achieve. Mm-hmm. One person was an engineer, one person was an athlete who went around the country and performed. Really? These guys were active, they were driving, they were doing everything that I wanted to do that I thought I might not be able to do. So the light bulb went off, you know? Mm-hmm. So I became a peer counselor because of kind of what helped me through. And then we go forward, and we fast forward to 2014, mm-hmm. and I moved to Texas.
Okay.
And, you know, while I was in Wisconsin and the beginning part of being a wheelchair user, I was pretty much the only guy in a wheelchair wherever I went, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't engage too much with my peer group.
Okay.
So when I moved to Texas, I told myself that I wanted to engage more with my peer group. Mm. So we fast forward a few years in Texas, and I'm out in the McKinney area, mm-hmm. and I look for my peer group through United Spinal Association.
Okay.
And there's no chapter. Houston, Texas is the closest chapter.
Yes, that's a good ways away.
That's right. That's 4+ hours. Yeah. So I get in touch with our national organization, and I say, look, what does it take to start a chapter? I can't be the only person with a spinal cord injury in North Texas. Right. Plus the interest of coming together as a group and creating a stronger bond in the community and just within each other.
That makes a lot of sense.
And so in 2019, in November of 2019, we formed the North Texas United Spinal Association. Mm. And to date, we have over 400 members. We write grants for programming. We do peer mentoring and advocacy. And we are an informational hub for the many organizations that help people with spinal cord injuries in the North Texas area. Mm-hmm. The one thing we noticed is if you're newly injured, there's no one place for that information to be had, mm-hmm. about who can help.
Right.
So we created a website. We put other organizations that have activities onto that website so someone can go and see what's going on.
Excellent.
For that month. And we do activities, we do socials every month. We're really engaged in the community, and we want to always looking to do more.
Now, I really enjoyed talking with you about this whole dynamic, because there are several aspects to what you guys do that I believe the general population is oblivious to. It's in terms of what does it take? Well, one, when you're spinal cord injured, as you mentioned, there's a kind of a reset that has to happen about what's possible for you. But in terms of you reaching out to your peer group, tell us about some of the activities that you guys do that help the therapeutic aspects of your recovery and or your emotional and physical well-being. Tell us a little bit about that, man.
You know, first injured, my thoughts are everyone's looking at me, right?
Right.
All eyes are on me, right?
Okay.
And so as a result, you naturally kind of become a little withdrawn, right? You become a little, you look for drive-throughs to go to instead of getting out of the car, right?
Okay.
And things like that, right? And it sounds silly now, but it's very real, right? And so the idea, what our chapter tries to do is get people out in the community, get them out in the community, get them interacting with others, because the more you do that, the more it's not an issue.
Right.
And the more everyone just goes about their business, and you're just part of the community, right? This is just an individual that happens to use a wheelchair, whereas as for their legs, where I use my legs.
Right.
And so our idea of advocacy, self-advocacy, getting out there in the community, and then we start doing activities, right? So we play pickleball. We started a bowling program.
Wow.
The bowling program has really taken off.
Really?
We collaborate with the PVA to do some bowling. We collaborate with other organizations. We have people from Oklahoma that come in to bowl with us. And so it's really exciting. Pickleball, the same way. We collaborate with Chicken and Pickle, which is an organization here in the DFW. Every Monday for 2 hours, we offer free pickleball play for people in chairs. We've got chairs for them to try. So we really try to push that type of activity because it does wonders for the brain and for the body.
Yes. We actually have a project going on with first responders. We have a contract with the Fraternal Order of Police, and I understand the levels of stress that they deal with. And one of the things that I've become aware of that I was oblivious to before is that there are a lot of people that are really empathetic about certain conditions, certain demographics, like the first responders, and they want to do something, however, they don't always know what to do, right? So what we did in a couple of our initiatives, we actually donated a care chair, did a matching grant, and at this location, it's called the Wellness and Recovery Room in Garland, Texas, right? In the police station. But at that location, the people of the community came out in large. Businesses came out, provided sponsorship support. I say that to say your demographic, people who are wheelchair, spinal cord injured, the community probably has a greater desire to be supportive than we actually tap. So can you tell us about what kind of interaction or engagement do you have with the business community and or the community at large to support your groups?
We partner with rehab hospitals in the area to do peer mentoring and to do visits with their physical therapy groups and things like that. And so our engagement is there. Chamber of Commerce, local Rotary clubs.
Interesting.
We like to get engaged with those individuals as well. And then local businesses facilitating our activities. Right? We look to collaborate and find ways to bring more people into that activity.
How does somebody join your association, or do you do recruitment? How does that process work?
We on social media. We're on Instagram. We have a Facebook presence as well. NorthTexasUSA.org is our website, and so individuals can go there and see a calendar of events they can join. All of our socials, membership is free, mind you, but all of our socials are free for members, and so we design and structure grants and donations to make it free for our members. So that's the criteria. You have to be a member, and you can either go on to the national website of unitedspinal.org or our local and find that.
Now, there was a story that I got from Tom Lee, who's the owner of the company Luraco, and he actually published this on his YouTube channel. And I thought it was fake. I'm like, really? This really happened? There was a lady who had been, I forgot what was the purpose of her original injury, but she was paralyzed. She couldn't walk. She came and got a massage chair, and within, I think it was over a course of 12 months, she had regained her mobility so that she could walk, she could climb stairs. And one of the things about that story that was touching is that, you know, when her father saw the transformation, the recovery of her from that, using that chair, he was saddened because his wife had a similar situation, had passed away. And many people don't understand, because there's actually energetic points in the body that, if properly stimulated, can help increase recovery time. Also, because of the acupressure, it helps move the lymph through your lymphatic system, which helps build you and boost your immune system. And many people don't know that those things are actually instrumental in maintaining your health and speeding your recovery. But in terms of your experience, have you noticed or used massage therapy, or people in your organization use massage therapy as a means of enhancing their wellness?
You know what, it's a great question, and I'll touch on a little bit about that statement and what I feel is in the spinal cord community. Every spinal cord injury is different. So my level is a T10, and I can have another gentleman that has a T10 injury next to me that could maybe ambulate, right? Or that can maybe move their legs to some degree, or can maybe bear weight on their legs.
Really?
It's all a matter of the injury level or the degree of injury to the spinal cord itself. So spinal cord injuries can happen through compression or through a severing, right? Or a combination of. So if you have an individual that has a compressed spinal cord, the nerves are compressed where they're paralyzed partially, that has the opportunity to regain and release that pressure, right? So you're using an apparatus like a Luraco massage chair, and you can stimulate those types of things and that type of recovery.
Interesting.
Now you have someone like me that has a severed spinal cord, and no matter of massage is going to bring those nerves together. However, in my instance, my legs, when I sit for a length of time, the muscles in my legs in that position get tight, get very tight.
Really?
And and so a person with a complete spinal cord injury is susceptible, and I shouldn't say just them, but a person with a complete spinal cord injury where muscles are involved in muscle movement, spasms.
Really?
And being sedentary for a long time in one position can create a tightness in those muscles, right? So I get in a chair like this, and it works out those muscles to where my muscles feel very loose and relaxed at the end of that session. And so that's the benefit for me there.
Interesting.
So yeah, it can be in both ways.
Man, I find that fascinating, man. And I never really delved into some of the a person might incur as a result of going through that experience. More people are more people looking, hopefully, to actually remobilize, or is it more or less, well, this is my lot, this is what I'm gonna be? How does that work?
There's a mindset and there's a reality, right? And so, but because everyone's injury is different, I'll just speak to mine. As a complete spinal cord injury, knowing that my nerves in my spinal cord were severed, that is a little harder road to come back for, right? Than someone with a bruised spinal cord or a compression injury. So I had to come to terms with the reality of this was probably my reality, is being mobile by using a wheelchair, right? So my thought was, how can I maximize what I can do using my wheelchair in my lifestyle? Right? And so that was my mindset. Other folks, their mindset is, I'm going to walk again, and I'm going to do everything I can to do that. So now technology is a wonderful addition to that. Over the last 10, 15 years, I think it's grown more than it has in that previous 10 to 15 years, right? We've seen like a lot of growth in that time.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I wanted to touch on some of the technology, some of the current cutting edge technology that's actually making it possible for people to recover from spinal injury, some to improve their well-being, even though they may still have spinal injury. It was one particular project, what was it called? Something that was created by Elon Musk.
Is that Neuralink?
Neuralink. Tell us about the Neuralink, man.
Do you know, I am no expert by Neuralink, but what I do know about it is that it's a chip implant that utilizes signals electronically to bypass where the injury is for that individual. And it takes those signals and through relays and using a computing system brings that information back to those muscles that are trying to receive that action, and it helps create that. It creates a bond where there was a break.
Wow, that's amazing.
What I know. Yeah, I hear it's pretty incredible. I don't know anyone at the moment who's tried it, but when you read about it, it sounds great.
And another thing I saw was this, it was called wearable exoskeletons, right? Because the technology becomes so advanced. All the time I'm seeing more and more robots.
Right.
I go into the corner store and they got a robot mopping the floor, right? But the technology has made it possible for people to actually get into an external skeleton, that people who cannot walk, and utilize that technology to actually walk. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can. What I can say is, when I was first injured, we had a thing called an RGO brace, rotating gait orthosis, I believe.
Okay,
is the name.
Okay.
But it's it fits over your hips, right? And you use a walker, and you stand up, and then you lock the knees so your knees don't bend, and it gives you kind of that Frankenstein gait.
Okay. But you can walk.
You can do it. You can swing your body weight and move your legs, right?
Interesting.
That's the idea. It was a ton of work.
Wow.
And it wasn't super
easy, huh?
effective, I'll tell you. But it got you standing, it got you bearing weight on your legs, and it felt good, you know, you can't lie, it made you feel good, right? But you fast forward to today, and systems like Rewalk, that's the only one I really know that is like that, or at least a name that I can identify. But I do know people here in the DFW that utilize that system, and it is a robotic system that you sit in, and it allows you to stand and ambulate and walk and climb stairs without the use of that walker, right? You are using that technology of that system to do that in a far more functional way than what you were able to do before. So it's pretty cool. When I see that product being used, it's always pretty neat, especially where it's come in the last few years.
Well, recently I had an opportunity to interview an associate of mine who had poems that caused her to become immobile. And she had been historically, she had researched for the American Medical Association, so she started doing some research to find out about some of the solutions. And one of the things that she discovered is that the Mayo Clinic, she reached out to the Mayo Clinic, and they had some stem cell solutions, stem cell transfer solutions. Was what she told me is that they took her stem cells out, cleaned them up, and put them back. I don't know how that works, but do you know anything about this? Now, this is almost futuristic kind of concept, man.
Do you know what? I don't have any knowledge about people that have gone through the program, but I can tell you what I've read about stem cells, I'm a fan. The idea behind it, that it's using your own body's regenerative properties that your body did have at one time, and those cells, right? That it's my understanding, right? When you're being formed and your spinal cord is forming those cells, there's a point that your body tells you to stop forming because it's complete, right? And that's the idea of using regenerative cells and things like that your body's had. I think it's fascinating, right?
It is like science
your
fiction,
body
man.
to fix yourself.
It's amazing.
Isn't that the ultimate goal?
Yeah,
right?
really.
So.
Another thing that I see, and this is like futuristic stuff that's coming in terms of wellness for spinal cord injured, is the smart homes, right? Smart homes. Well, we have smart homes now where you can Siri, turn on the doggone radio, move to, close the door, turn the lights, whatever. But they're creating these environments that make it possible for these people to have greater mobility in their own spaces and control the other things that they would normally not have access to. Are you familiar with that?
You know, I think a long time the idea of access and accessibility around something like universal design is something that's been very popular, right? Using that universal design to create an access point is something that goes beyond making it wheelchair accessible, right? It creates something for
I know what you mean.
Aging in place, right? Stepless entries and things like that is just part of the design element.
Yeah.
That is what's exciting. I enjoy that type of thing, and the technologies that you can utilize with that. A lot of things are being incorporated like that now in a universal design, where you'll have countertops that can lower, you'll have cabinets that can pull out from the top down to a space.
Interesting.
You'll have convection ovens in space or induction that are on a countertop, right, that can be level with you that you can't see. Just incredible technology like that.
Man, I have the greatest admiration for you. You know, as we were talking prior to having this conversation, something that you mentioned about in communities at large, that many people have an aversion to sharing information, right? Because it's like, oh, if I tell you, like, I'm gonna miss out on something or whatever. But you embrace the idea of collaboration and cooperation to the point. Can you speak on that for a second?
For far too long, I feel that organizations like ours, like mine, have felt like they had to be autonomous because if they collaborated, it would take away from their piece of the pie that they might be available, right? That is not the case, right? Collaborations are what create a larger engagement and a true movement to happen, right?
Really?
You can't do it by yourself.
Really?
And there's so many organizations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. First of all, our Metroplex has got it going on, right?
Really?
We have businesses and infrastructure and populace all at the highest level of what's happening in this country right now. And so if there is ever a place for us to do something, it is the DFW. Right?
You know, I consider that man is still evolving. And I believe that as we continue to progress through this age, particularly with this AI that's making it easier for things to be done and you to have revenue streams happening. But the thought is that as we mature emotionally, mentally, intellectually, that we'll get to the place where we realize the necessity of collaboration, support, and sharing, because that's really the design. I'll liken it onto this. I go back to a book I read called The Impersonal Life. And in it, it was like God is saying, you are cells in my body. And if you work together, I'll be whole. But mankind as a being has made himself sick because of this divisiveness that happens among them. So I say that to say this: what could Laraco do to be of support or service for the North Texas Spinal Association? Because we really appreciate and respect the work that you're doing, and we want to be able to make a contribution as well.
You know what, that's great, and I really love to hear that. I think when we talk about the chapter and what kind of that engagement can look like, I think of some of the partners that I work with and our chapter works with as far as activity, and I see perhaps a Laraco chair in those locations or at those facilities to then bring awareness to where a group of wheelchair athletes reside and are active.
That's
right?
a great idea, man.
There's adaptive gyms right here in the area. There's the Chicken and Pickle. There's Powered to Move, which is an organization that is in my area of town in Allen that is great. Right off the bat, I can see value right there.
Man, that's a brilliant idea. I knew it was the reason I liked you. But I'll tell you this, one of the reasons why we're having these conversations is because so many people, I myself am included, I've just recently becoming aware of the therapeutic benefits of some of this technology, and I really am an advocate to try to create greater awareness. I'm having these conversations because I'm talking to people who are in HR departments, who are over programs. I don't care whether it's a hospital, we're working with universities, we're working with, we're getting ready to do something with DFW Airport, right? Because the people that work in these spaces need to have this regenerative therapeutic access for them to maximize their effectiveness. Do you know, not only does it make them more productive, but it makes them sharper mentally.
You know,
this is real.
I work at a BPO call center called Tel Vista.
Is that right?
Here,
okay.
Right here in the DFW. And if there was ever a location that could utilize that chair and use it as a spiff for our agents to say, hey, you do a great job on your break. Here's your token to go use that massage chair.
I like that idea.
And get relaxed and come invigorated out of that. I'm thinking, my gosh, what a great benefit that would be.
That's a great
in
perk.
that space, you know.
We're gonna have to pay you for some of all these ideas, man.
And so, hey, we can talk about that. But definitely, we can see that type
Joe,
of advantage.
I really appreciate you coming out and being on the show. And I want, as we close out, tell us how people get in touch with you, and tell us your closing remarks. If it's something that you can share with other wellness workers or people that are concerned about the well-being of their family, co-workers, what have you, I want you to share.
Great, thank you. So what I can say is that if you see adaptive athletes out in the community, athletes in wheelchairs, doing whatever sport or activity that they're engaged in, feel free to go up to them, talk to them. If you're working in wellness and talking about recovery and activity, individual in a wheelchair needs that equally as much as someone that does not use a wheelchair. And so bring that together and invite that collaboration between wheelchair users and non-wheelchair users. We're all part of that community. NorthTexasUSA.org is where you can find us. Become a member. It's free to do so. Have a great day.
Joe, I so much appreciate you, man. This has been good.
Thank you. I think so too.
That's it for this episode of the Wellness Workers Podcast. Signing out.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Wellness Workers Podcast. We hope you found valuable insights to support your health, your loved ones, and your workplace. Remember, wellness isn't just a trend, it's a lifestyle. Stay tuned for more expert advice and real-world strategies to help you thrive. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, share, and leave us a review. If you're a wellness worker and would like to share your story or best practices, please get in touch with me. Until next time, stay well and take care.